Good morning and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here today with Penny and Fred, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Penny's ability to understand and respond to her formal on-leash obedience commands, the correction and the motivation that we give the dogs when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of that leash folded in his right hand. That leaves the left hand free to give the correction, and the only correction that we give here at school is a little tug and release on the training collar, and that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Penny's going to come home with her very own training collar, and you're going to be taught how to use that properly during your follow-up training session. Now, if you notice, Penny's sitting very nicely at Fred's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done, and the first exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. The command is Penny heel, and it is just a walking exercise. Walking next to your left leg, focusing on you when walking, not lunging out or forging ahead. And each time that you stop your feet, she's been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for her next command. So when you're walking down the street and you stop to cross traffic or you stop to talk to a neighbor, she should be sitting nicely at your left and waiting for your next command. And the next command that we're going to demonstrate is the sit-stay. Okay. The stay is a hand and a voice command, and because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. You're going to be able to practice the sit-stay indoors as well as outdoors. Start out at about 30 seconds and work all the way up to 3 minutes. When Fred returns back to Penny, he will walk all the way around her and he will return back to where they started, and that's her sign that he's ready to give her another command. So every time you return back to her shoulders, she expects you to tell her what you want from her next. Now, she's not a big fan of obedience training. She likes to play and be Penny Pug, but she needs this discipline and enforce her obedience. And we'll go over that when you come to get her. Stay. Fred leaves her again in another sit-stay. And this time, instead of returning back to her, Fred will use her name in a happy voice and call her Penny, come. And she comes right in and sits right in front of him facing his knees. That was a beautiful come. And back to sit. Penny's a bit of a diva and she can get an attitude when it comes to obedience training, but I want you to ignore that and train with her anyway. She's been very, very good girl while she's been here at school, and we want that to continue for you at home. Now again, Fred's going to leave her in a sit-stay. And then he is going to use her name, lighten his tone, because coming to you is always a good thing, and that's what we want her to feel about it, that it's always a good thing to come. You're going to get praised for coming. And then back to heel and back sitting. Very good. Now, because Penny is a bit of a diva, we brought a blanket out to demonstrate her down command so that she's not cold. And it's actually a beautiful day here. But Fred's going to bring her up onto the blanket in a minute, and we're going to demonstrate your down from a heel position. So with your dog seated at your left, you take your left open palm, push it straight down toward the ground, and give the one-word command to down and stay. And again, you can practice this down, stay right in your house. You're going to practice it for 3 minutes, working up to 5 minutes. And when Fred returns back to her, she should remain lying down until he tells her what he wants next. So he walks all the way around back to heel. He's going to heel her out of that, and we're going to demonstrate that for you again. If we could cover the whole yard in a blanket, she'd be much happier. She's adorable, and she's been a really good girl while she's been here at school. She's eaten, she plays, she's had a good time. Except when it comes to obedience, which is not her favorite thing. Now remember, always have her seated before you give her the down command, and it's down and stay. And this time, instead of returning back to her, Fred will call her in. She comes right in and sits. She gets a good pat for praise for sitting. Now, she didn't sit when she went back to heel, so Fred gave her that little tug that we were talking about. And the very last exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is your down from a distance. And don't let that sad face of hers fool you. She's a Spitfire and you know it, so she just doesn't want to do it. And so when she doesn't want to do it, she needs to do it even more. Now Fred's going to use his right hand to give the command and drop her into a down from a distance. Now she didn't go the first time, so he said no and repeated the command, no, down. So that was a good example of what to do when she's not paying attention to you. Now we've demonstrated for you all of Penni's formal obedience commands. I will be going over all of this with you tomorrow when you pick her up, and I will be explaining how you can use this in your everyday living situations. We've had a lot of fun with her and we've enjoyed having her, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.